Hey, my name is Benjamin Benton. I'm the founder and CEO of Book by Benj, and today I'm speaking to 7 different models to see what their opinions and their thoughts are on the music and modeling industry in Los Angeles. Let's fucking get it.
What's up, everyone? My name is Dominique Franks. I've been in the modeling industry for 5 years, and the topic that I want to bring up to everyone, especially for those who is pursuing the entertainment industry, whether it's modeling, whether it's acting, whether it's singing, or any other avenues within the industry, it's specifically for modeling, is the evolution of modeling. However, there are some stigmatism that models are facing.
Okay, so if you could repeat that for me, actually, just briefly, because I was a little bit confused on what you were saying in particular.
So what I was saying is, over time, the modeling industry has been evolving. However, there is some stigmatism in the modeling industry that whether upcoming models are facing or whether more seasoned models are facing, that don't get that breakthrough in the modeling industry that they envisioned.
Okay, yeah. So my take on that, I would say it's just too oversaturated because of its evolution. There are different ways of modeling nowadays. So many different aesthetics, types. Different types of projects and shoots. There's like music videos, there's fashion brands, and there's runway and so forth. And a lot of people are too seduced, by social media nowadays, seeing their favorite, model on the gram. It's like they see it everywhere. You can't evade it, especially if you're in Los Angeles. You can't evade it. But the saturation, there comes a tipping point. Just like when it comes to music, everybody trying to be a rapper or something, and it only gives the odds, a lot less, for people that are truly talented, that deserve it, and so forth. But as far as the evolution of modeling, I would say that it has evolved, but not in the right direction for a lot of ways, in my opinion. I would say that a lot of models, quote unquote, like women on OnlyFans, not really models. I mean, just to keep it 100%, and do as you need. Some people need to work, of course, in that sense to get by. Economy's down, but the evolution of modeling right now went from burlesque, back in the 30s and 40s, to legitimate magazines, with models, with Ford models, Wilhelmina, etc. And then, of course, runway was, a big thing for modeling in its revolution during that time. And then there's a lot of music videos, of course. People love seeing women with the artists that they watch. And then now it's just kind of downgraded all the way down to essentially selling a picture of, your what for $5 online a month. So, it's not really a great direction, but, there's still a lot of hope for the industry. It just all depends on what the influences are, how people could evade those seductive influences and counteract it, with being innovative, creative, and also very sturdy with their work as they move up.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% when it pertains to that. And when I was talking about evolution, I mean, there is more inclusiveness. You don't have to be a size 0, and nothing against the models that are that, because it's their genetics. It's not their fault. But I'm talking about for plus size models, or models that are athletically built, or models that identify themselves as not just heterosexual, you know what I'm saying? Or models who, it's not that cookie cutter. It's evolving, but when I talk about stigmatism, there still is, like, agencies or casting directors, they're still looking for that. And it just brings, doubt in other people, who are the models that want to pursue this industry, because it is evolving to some extent.
Yeah, so as far as the inclusivity, yeah, there are benefits to that. But with plus-size models, they should stay in, like, plus-size clothing brands, but not everywhere. And plus, when it comes to modeling, it doesn't matter what era we're in, because a lot of inclusivity, unfortunately, is extremely backfired. I mean, me as a guy, when it comes to female models, right, the majority of their fan base will be men. They like looking at beautiful women. But when you see a woman that clearly doesn't take care of herself in a health aspect, and of course, there's a small minority of women that have that genetic, code in them where it's like it's a lot more difficult for them to lose weight. But there's a lot of women that are not in that case, and they take advantage of the inclusivity, and then it just looks gross to me, to a lot of men, actually. And for the men that are listening, it's like, do you want to see somebody that, clearly does not take care of themselves and eat right? Or would you rather look at somebody that is a beautiful, natural woman with a gorgeous, slim, and very, even a curved body, but natural? What would people want to look at? You want to look at Vogue and see, like, somebody that's overweight? No, absolutely not.
Hi, Benjamin. How are you?
We're doing good, Brittany. It was good seeing you last night and even last week for your project. I can't wait.
Appreciate that.
And nice hair, by the way.
Thank
Very
you.
clean cut, looking like you just came out the CEO office.
I wanted to make sure that I dress appropriately for this because we're having a serious discussion.
And we're also having a big plot after this, as we know.
There you go.
Let's go!
So for those who don't know, my name is Brittany Nicole. I actually started as a child model back in the 90s. For those of us who were born in the 1900s.
Over here. Let's go.
What I wanted to address today, and I almost feel like I might know how you feel about this, but
Pretty much.
because I remember when I lived in Atlanta and I did not have the following that I have now, and how frustrating it was where it seemed like follower count dictated whether you got bookings or not. And what I have noticed a lot of times is that a lot of people who do not have a big following still seem to be like one of the most professional people that I've worked with. They've put in the work. They've actually studied. They might not have just had a chance or something like this to where they can have a big enough platform to broadcast themselves. And it feels like even now with social media being much more than it was 10 years ago when it kind of first started, dictating if you get bookings or not, depending on your followers.
I definitely agree with you on that. That's one of the setbacks, that social media has caused for the industry as it, continuously implemented and asserted itself in the music and modeling industry as a whole. But I understand where a lot of them are coming from, knowing somebody that prefers to have, women that have an established following, of course, because that's where it correlates to campaigns and promotion.
But then they tend to have the deer in the headlights look. I mean, just because you can take a good selfie doesn't necessarily mean that you look good on camera.
Well, just because you take a selfie doesn't mean you're a model in the first place either.
Well, yeah, but that seems to,
Yeah,
a lot of times that's where they have their followings.
Yeah, which I find foolish. I mean, I'm a lot more restricted and more conservative, I would say, about that. I obviously like to have a woman that has a larger fan base because that could extend her. She could be extended to promotional campaigns. Let's say they got 90K on IG. They can get paid for a promotional campaign. They're expanding, their capabilities, right? But I know where you're getting at because there are a lot of great, talented, and even signed women that just don't care about the following because they're doing so good. A lot of people care about this stuff, because, there has to be a public image. You definitely have to have a larger fan base so you get profit from that. That's how, social media marketing works. But nonetheless, there's a lot of great women. And I actually recently got one on the roster. She only has, less than 2,000 followers, but she looks great. She looks like she's viable. She looks like she's very, she has a lot of potential. And she takes care of herself. Yeah. So there's a lot of things that would contradict that. Yeah. And social media following has become more of the priority rather than the work, the merits,
Right.
the background, the experience,
Portfolio.
Yeah. And those are typically agencies that are poorly structured. They basically take any gig, no matter how depraved it could be per se. And I mean, in Atlanta, actually, Atlanta's a little bit, more wild out there in comparison to LA, from what we've seen. It's like, I've been to Atlanta. It's a beautiful city. I love it. When I went there, I fucking loved it. But I see where you're getting at with Atlanta. It's a little bit cloudy. Not cloudy in the sky, but like with a T. Cloudy.
I've also noticed, again, if it has to do more about the following themselves, then you tend to get people who aren't as professional. They would show up on set high, drunk. It takes forever to get the shot. They can't keep up the energy.
The stories that I have.
Yeah, versus getting, someone who might have 200 followers, but again, they put in the work. They have a portfolio. They have a resume. More than just, an Instagram page with X amount of followers.
Yeah, but nonetheless, it is important that you still maintain your public image because right now your public resume is essentially your social media pages, right?
Or if you got a website like some of us.
Yeah, true. I mean, that gives you more professionalism. That's where you're able to get legitimate agencies that have mother agencies, or bigger ones like Ford, or even Aston Models of Beverly Hills. I got a contract from there a couple years ago from one of my my reps, and it's they offered it on the first meeting, but she couldn't do it because, certain circumstances. But nonetheless, it's like a lot of agencies prefer to have a larger following because they could utilize that for promotional campaigns in particular. But ones that only focus on that rather than the actions and the character and the ethics behind the model themselves individually, they're not doing so well no matter what they say. They're lying out their ass over public. Everybody does it, because people want to look good because that brings more business. But, there's a way that you could detect if they're doing good rather than just playing it out.
Yeah, I think overall it just really comes down to, can the person perform the job that I want them to do?
Yeah.
And again, if they have the credentials, like a resume and different reels behind it, then maybe you should give the follows not that much of a...
See, and that's what the world has really come to. Not even outside of the modeling industry. People want to look good rather than being good.
Right.
That is one of the most foolish things that everybody is following outside of Hollywood, just in regular life. You want to look good to a bunch of people, but why care about their opinions? Just do what you need to do, and you're doing great at that. That's the only reassurance that any model, no matter male, female, or any agent like myself, is doing. Just know that you're reassuring yourself, because why follow the crowd? The crowd mostly has a bunch of people that have lower than a 100 score IQ. Come on now. We all know that. People be acting a fool. So, yeah, qualifications, credentials, experience, and merits is far more important than any foolish fake social media following that you could get $50 online, get 100,000 followers, and call it a day and act like you some hot shit.
Yeah, I was gonna say too. Like, plus there's still bots out there, so how can you even like?
Especially on Instagram, that's where you find all the bots. Like TikTok is a little bit harder to do that, but yeah, definitely bots. On Instagram, and everybody said nobody says like an X model. Nobody says like a Twitter model.
Right.
Basically, yeah, like it's X now. Nobody says like a TikTok model. They say TikTok influencer, but not model. They say Instagram model.
Right.
It's an Instagram model. So of course they're gonna capitalize off the looks rather than the actual merit. You talking to you, Brittany?
Jordan Marquise here on camera. What's going on?
It's my dog.
So I can speak on the following, but I'm gonna switch it up because I know for a fact that we have music artists in here, so we're gonna switch it up. From my side, I will speak on the following because I already know that does it holds weight, right?
Absolutely.
It does hold weight, but like you just said, it shouldn't hold weight. Honestly,
it should not be the priority. It should hold weight, but it's not it should not be the priority. The priority are qualifications, credentials, and experience. Like Brittany said, she's definitely right about that concept. But it does hold weight, but at the end of the food chain, in my opinion.
Okay, so I'm gonna switch it up here. On to the music side of things. How do you feel? Now, this is a conversation that I've brought up to a few people. I was actually just talking to Kevin McCall just this past week.
The guy that was on Deuces back in 2012, right?
Correct.
Crazy, yeah.
So how do you feel about the music industry and the sexuality of the person?
That's a good question, actually, and I'm going to be very direct, but I'm going to obviously try carefully otherwise.
Got to.
So when it comes to the hypersexualization from rappers towards women, one, you can't really help that, especially when you're just working on the inside, and then two, both sides have fault, from the models and also to the artists. The artists, of course, have followed a culture that is self-destructive, and they obviously objectify women, which is heinous and disgusting in my opinion. And I was raised a different way, so it could be different from experience, but end of the day, just because your experience, is valid does not mean that it's right. By doing that to certain women. And, that's why I never booked a twerk girl in my career at all, because I just can't stand it. I consciously can't look at a woman in that sense, and knowing that I had a hand to put in that. My mother raised me way better. You know my mother, so
I'm already knowing. But I've always told you to look beyond the twerkingness, because a girl twerking doesn't define who she is. Maybe that's just where she comes from.
But it defines her decision making, though. Because look, like, first off, yeah, a lot of people want to see a bunch of ass shakers. I know it's a big thing, especially in like certain cities, including here, and then definitely in Atlanta with the strip clubs. I mean, there's a strip club on every corner at this point out there.
Strip club on every corner in LA.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we're like 10 minutes from Deja Vu from here. Come on now.
Correct.
But nonetheless, I just find it repugnant. It's just gross to me personally. I can't speak for everybody else.
Got you.
But on a more philosophical scale, I would say twerking is just very gross outside of my personal opinion. Like, what do you go to, like, the people that are actually spending money, that are investing to the work, that are really doing a lot of great stuff, example, like Drake, yeah, he has a couple of twerk girls here and there in his videos, but typically with the feature videos where he's a feature.
Right.
And the main artist has the twerk girls, but it's not really Drake. He's just the feature. But if you ever watch a Drake video from like, let's say 2010 until now, where it's its own record, no features, just him alone, but doing a video, right? Do you really see a lot of twerk girls on Drake's videos, or like people that are like at that A-list tier level? Not a lot, but like it's not a lot.
I would
but
say it's about 25%.
Yeah, but exactly. So the majority, of course, 75%, he don't do that because people that are in that 1% range, they want to have beautiful, elegant, gracious women, and unfortunately, women that twerk are not exactly that.
Oh my gosh.
Good talking to fam. My doctor.
My name's Shawny on Instagram. Been modeling on and off for about 5-6 years. My main topic, honestly, I just want to know like how you would feel if AI was to take over the whole modeling aspect. Because we already know it's taking over the world.
Yeah.
There's cars literally with no one in there. There's AI videos, literally content you can create. And my fear is that us as models, like, they won't need us no more. So how do you feel about that?
So, yes, that would be in due time, but it would not be long term, once it's implemented.
Mm-hmm.
It's just going to be a phase. It's going to be in the bubble market, in my opinion. Because even though AI models will be cheaper, more effective, of course, like people wouldn't cancel a lot because that causes a lot of ruckus.
Right.
I would say after that phase takes its course for a couple of years, there still will be people being booked, of course, because there's people that want some authenticity. They want a real human being, And a lot of people human beings fundamentally, they want something authentic, something beautiful, something gracious. They want that deep down in their hearts, no matter what, the influences are.
Mm-hmm.
So over time, they're going to get sick of it. And then AI, modeling is going to crash and collapse. And it's going to go back to what it usually was because human beings want the authenticity. They can see when it's fake and when it's not. Do people like fake stuff? Yeah, a good amount nowadays. People are retarded. But nonetheless, end of the day, they want something authentic.
Yeah, and it's like more realistic now. Like you can create a whole Instagram off of AI.
Yeah, and I've seen a lot on TikTok, of like
It's
just
like how would that be?
Yeah, it's sad. I mean, because as the world moves a bit too fast, in my opinion, it's gonna backfire.
It is.
End of the day, I mean, AI is gonna be needed, of course, in the future, but AI modeling in particular, it's not gonna last. Not for too long.
How long do you think it would last?
Like I said, because people want things that are authentic and real.
No, how long do you think?
Oh, how long?
How many years would you give it?
I'd say probably max a decade, maybe give or take, a little more or less. Because, people get sick of things pretty damn quick. And a lot of people could be tolerant for so long, but there's always a limit.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially, when it comes to Hollywood, it's like, yeah, they'll profit from that. But then they're also not going to have proper manpower to do the job needed. When you fully rely yourself on technology, you lose your own ability to work hard in the first place. And nobody's going to deal with that.
That's true.
And if anything, AI would cause people to start working their asses off to get them out of the center stage of like Hollywood. I think that would be a good thing if they start pushing back once they get sick of it. Yeah. But it's probably going to happen, and it's sad. But there's nothing really much people like us could do about our level. We're not in that industry in particular, but it's not going to last for long. I think that there's hope. I believe that it's going to be a phase of like a couple years, max a decade. And then after that, people are going to be sick of it and then push back and throw their AIs, down the gutter.
It seems like everyone's loving it more than hating it.
Yeah, of course. It's basically the first wave of it being excessively realistic.
And what about the models that are kind of using it to their full extent? And they're literally creating like their whole model off of AI.
Well,
is that real modeling to you? Or?
No, it's not real modeling because I like to keep things a bit more original. Like I said, authentic. It's not real modeling. You could obviously make, look, an AI, if somebody that's using AI is essentially, like, as far as AI models or, like, these TikTok videos, they're simply just, an amateur animator in their own basement. Like, you go to animators at, let's say, Universal or, Nickelodeon, let's say, they're legitimate, because they're making something authentic. And people know that it's not real because they're animating things.
Right.
It's just simply an animation, like a cartoon, and that's all it is to it, no matter how real it could be. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of animation in Japan, like a lot of anime that's CGI, and it looks heavily real when it comes, to a full screen type of scene. Yeah. So, but people could still sense the difference deep down in their hearts, in my opinion. I'd say it's not going to last. It's going to come, but it's not going to last for long. People desire authenticity. End of the day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. It's kind of really off.
See you in a bit.
All
already know who it is.
It's gonna be my hardest challenge today, but it's gonna be worth the while. Let's
You
go.
already know who it is. The
In a
hardest
minute.
soft. Hello, everybody. It's Alanis. I go by 9. I'm an actor, model, musician. Hello.
How are you?
Good. How are you, Mr. Benji?
I've been good. You know, it's been some time since Center Stage. You know, back in May.
No, we had a great time though.
We did. We definitely
We had
did.
a great time.
But me, I'm a little hot from that because it took me off the bench, like I was telling you.
yeah.
And I could have done a lot of damage, but good damage though.
I agree. I feel like you got a lot to say, and there's value in what you say. So
Thank you, appreciate it.
yeah, I'm sorry that they cut you off. But at the end of the day,
Oh,
they
great.
wasn't ready
I
for
mean-
the smoke. They didn't want it, honey. They couldn't handle it. It's okay.
Oh, so test me. Let's see if I can handle it. Run it up.
Oh, okay,
Run it
so
up.
my topic for today, I just wanted to talk about fitting into a niche. How like we live in a generation of where in this industry you have to kind of almost fit into a box in order to ascend in a way or be seen on social media. You know, like think about it, like if you told Kurt Cobain, "Oh, you gotta post 10 reels a day, my bro." Kurt Cobain, I know you shooting up, bro, but you gotta do 10 reels a day if you really want to do. He'd be like, "What?"
You know, yeah, because first
Yeah.
off, I'm pretty sure like if Kurt Cobain was popping in this day and age, the labels would more than likely say,
No.
take a live stream of your suicide, like some crap like that.
Right.
You know, it's like they really trying to like take every aspect of somebody's life and put it on public, no matter how depraved, no matter how embarrassing.
Yes.
Because supposedly, according to Kim K, you know, and her manager, her mother, for some time now, bad publicity is still publicity or something like that. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, that is true, but it's like, dude, people know things nowadays. It's not like before where it's like the bad publicity, you know, seemed like a real thing. No, we know things are scripted for a reason. It's called entertainment because you entertain the public watching.
Right.
So they have to fabricate it. Everything is scripted in that sense.
Right. And there are a lot of people, like, for example, coming into this industry, I came into it through content, you know? So there's a lot of people who didn't understand the process of not only do you have to be an artist and be authentic to yourself, but you also have to put yourself in position to be seen as an artist, as a musician, as a model, as an actor. And a lot of times I did a lot of content that didn't necessarily go with exactly what I'm trying to do. But at the end of the day, it was so worth it for me. And on the other side of it, they don't see that a lot of it's really scripted. A lot of it we're just improving. A lot of it is acting.
And that's
you know?
why Hollywood, you know, to an extent, I wouldn't say it's like collapsing full way, but it is collapsing. It's kind of burning down to the ground because they made poor decisions that, you know, eventually come back around. I mean, what
Right.
goes around comes around.
All the way.
Yeah, but what I would say to that, my apologies. Like I was telling Keezy earlier, I'm sleep deprived right now, so mine is racing but forgetful. Remind me where we're at in this conversation. I'm sorry.
We was talking about being a niche.
Okay, yeah. So being a niche, so basically finding, you know, your niche, your style, etc.
Yes, and having to be that as a multi-dimensional artist.
So as a multi-dimensional artist, you can't really have a niche because you're multi-dimensional.
Right.
You have different avenues in which you're focusing on. It's not going to be so possible. It's not going to be viable like that. So if your niche, you know, is not really there, your niche would just be multidimensional, versatile. That's it. You could do a lot of different things. You could make yourself a brand from multiple different avenues, from modeling, music, content, etc. Your niche is being versatile, being multidimensional, being having multiple abilities and skills that you could work on, that you could implement and execute. So, like myself, I mean, it's basically putting on a lot of hats at one time, and it could be overwhelming and stressful. But if you really know what your niche is being multidimensional, those hats are just accessories, you know, like anything else.
Yeah.
You know, you got a nice nose ring, got the nice Egyptian ankh I could see with the cross below. You feel me? Like paying homage, you know, to do different descendants. I could tell.
Yeah.
Feel me? I'm already knowing about the Egyptian ankh. Come on.
What you
now.
know about it?
I'll tell you later. How about that?
Okay.
Anyways.
Tell me later.
I got you.
But yeah, no, I definitely agree. And I never stopped being, you know, I'm a Gemini. So even if I wanted to put myself in a box, it wouldn't really, eventually I would pop out. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really can't do that necessarily. But a lot of times when I come across agents or A&Rs or manager people who want to move forth with what I'm doing, a lot of them try to place me in a, oh, yeah, this is great, but I feel like you have a lot of hats on at one time. How about we just do this hat?
They're not giving you factual evidence. They're not giving you insight.
Yeah,
they're giving their subjective opinion,
Right.
and opinions are not realistic. Opinions are only personal. When you're doing business, opinionation really isn't the norm. And trust me from experience, because I will run my mouth a lot.
Run it.
Of course, I have my backlash from that, but I still know what my word is worth. It's valuable like anybody else. You know, we have a mouth for a reason. In 2 years, we listen more rather speaking, but we still speak regardless. But nonetheless, your niche, in my opinion, would to be multidimensional in general. Like Anderson .Paak, for example. I think that's a good example for you. Anderson .Paak is a producer, a drummer, a rapper, an executive, a songwriter. He does it all. And even though he's not super popular like that in the industry, people still know of who he is. He's still making money. He has a family. He's building his legacy, his empire. He's doing fucking great. And he's excessively talented. Very talented. I went to the same music school as him back years ago when I used to be a rapper and producer, mind you. That's a little...
Okay, he was a rapper. Let me know it then.
I say the disclaimer, my rap career was retconned. It's not in this timeline. It's retconned, okay? Retconned. Hey, Alanis, I like that. Make sure you get my Instagram after. I'm going to get you on the roster, okay?
Love.
You intrigue me, and let's hear what you got to say. I like your look. You know, strawberry shortcake vibes, like Hello Kitty or Disney princess, a whole amalgamation of it. Like, she's versatile, you're versatile. Let's hear what you got to say.
Thank you. My name is Excellent. That's my birth name.
Excellent.
I am a designer. I style people. I've been in and out of the music industry and just the performing industry since I was 5.
You
Very much someone who, instead of having friends, I was drawing, working on music, performing, or just doing things to better my life, but also to impact others. So I'm someone whose topic would be just creating safe spaces for mixed autistic people. Like, a lot of the time when people see me, they're like, oh, you're very creative. You're someone who is clearly like inspired by a character of some sort.
I see.
But at the end of the day, I'm someone who's on the spectrum. And obviously around people who tend to understand things in a different way than someone on the spectrum would. So sometimes it's not always the safest space.
Of course,
those
yeah.
on the
You know,
spectrum.
so me, I actually got Tourette's and ADHD. I'm not on the spectrum, but I could be, let's say, on a branch, you know, to the spectrum, something that's relative to it to an extent. But one, good that, you know, you're pushing past that. You still think you're extremely creative and you embrace that without any apology, and good for you on that. And then also, when it comes to having the safe space, you know, for people such as yourself on the spectrum, in the industry as a whole, as you move up, it's like a lot of people will not really consider that, unfortunately. Even your manager, your agent, whatever, and I'm sure you might already know that at this point. But nonetheless, one, it seems like you might have been, you said you didn't have like a lot of friends growing up, you were just focused on writing and drawing and all that.
Yeah.
I was the same way, actually, because, you know, back when I was like, 9, 10 years old or something, I wanted to be an animator. I wanted to write my own cartoon and all that. And even so, might have some little subconscious, you know, endeavors for that, actually, you know, when I think about it. But nonetheless, the safe space stuff it is important for certain individuals, but there really can't be a lot of special treatment that the industry can provide, let alone they want to, unfortunately. I believe that when it comes to being an independent artist, as you move up, you're going to have a lot of that autonomy for yourself. So I would say don't go to the labels, not the agencies or nothing. Be fully independent, because you could own everything that you make, every cent of it. And of course, you've got a manager and an agent, you know, you give them a certain percentage, you know, that's a part of the game. But everything else is all you. So stay independent, because independent artists are going to run the industry soon enough. I don't know when, but I know it's going to happen. So you should be a part of that movement, that revolution against Hollywood for essentially smiting, you know, the independents. And you should definitely, you know, stay independent, because I think that's probably better for you as a woman that's on the spectrum, but yet very creative, seem very vibrant. And you should definitely consider that long term, because you can make everything to yourself. Everything is yours. You own it. And you could have that safe space for yourself. But for everybody else, per se, in your position, you know, on the spectrum, I can't say the same unless they take the independent route.
I know that for myself, I've also been on the opposite end. And I know it's possible that a safe space can be created. I know when I was coordinating with models and doing photography, I often thought about, okay, yes, we have to make the product look good, but what is a way that I can assist the models so that they can truly shine how I know that they can? So making sure like the clothing is very comfortable with their textures. It shouldn't be where people have to stop looking good just because a texture stops them. What if it's just not for that person? Same thing with modeling. Maybe it might work for someone, but it doesn't work for the other.
Well, yeah,
Go ahead.
that's a part about the free market. It's like you could target any demographic, and nowadays demographics are so widespread and massive, in multiple different fields. I mean, for yourself, I could easily see yourself popping off in the cosplay industry as a model, and cosplay is huge. I mean, you could easily be like a showgirl at Comic-Con or something like that. That's a big thing. So it's all about the demographic. It's not going to fit for everybody, but there's always a demographic for something. There's a demographic for women like yourself, on the spectrum. Like, example, Jordan, the male model that was here, he has a clothing brand, actually, that, specializes in bringing awareness for people such as yourself on the spectrum. His son, his firstborn, has autism, so you should definitely connect with him. But there's always a demographic for everybody.
Yes.
And if it doesn't work for their sake while you're there, then that's not for you, because there's always another demographic. There's always another group you could target and also put your stuff out, and they're going to love it. They will love it. It's all about finding the right fit. Not every shoe's going to fit when you go to the shoe store, right?
True.
Not every pair of pants going to fit you on the first try. You got to work out a little bit in the gym to get it. Got to think about it like that. But stay independent, though. Stay independent so you could own everything and you could have things on your terms.
Thank you.
No
Thank
problem.
you for your time.
No problem. Pleasure. Talk to Jordan right there. He runs his brand. Okay. I'm sensing some Tupac and Janet Jackson. Tupac with the attire, but Janet Jackson with the actual facial structure. I can see.
Okay, I appreciate that.
What was that movie? What was that movie they were in? Poetic Justice. Yeah,
I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, and then but I'm seeing like the outfit is more juice, so it's like no offense.
Yeah, nah.
We all know how juice ended up.
Damn,
Hey, look,
cool.
you're dressing like a Harlem cat right now. Come on now. Hey, but props though. I mean, shit, Joey Badass would love to have you next to him in the photo shoot.
I appreciate you, man.
What's your name though?
Sauce the God. For those of you that don't know, I come from a background. I grew up with music. I grew up with family that was either, if there wasn't music, they was in movies. If they wasn't in movies, they was modeling. If they was in modeling, they was coordinating. But that's trickled down to me now. I don't do much. I don't have as much of a presence, and it's not something. Before it used to be, and it kind of goes on my subject. It used to be something I was a little insecure about. It's like, oh, I don't have this background, or I did, but I didn't take advantage of it. So I guess now being in a space like this and saying yes to opportunities, like something I would want to talk about is like the lack of inclusivity and the excessiveness of exclusiveness. So it's like, as someone where you might not know it, maybe you would. I'm a queer individual. I'm a person of color. And at times I feel like that should matter. And then at times I feel like it shouldn't matter at all. And as someone that doesn't have that presence, go on my Instagram, I don't follow nobody. I don't know nobody. You bring up a big, industry I may not know, but that doesn't mean that I don't deserve it. That doesn't mean that someone like me shouldn't be in a space like this just because of that,
and like I was saying earlier, it all varies on the market and also which demographic you're pushing. So basically, and what kind of style do you have, if I may ask?
So before this, I was a girl. I used to have a face full of piercings. It was very between the two, models that was
somewhere like a Hot Topic 09 type of shit.
I would put it under like an alternative, like an alternative Afro Latina, where it's a little spiritual, a little gothy, a little edgy,
little free roaming, a bit nomadic and like the mindset.
Yes,
Okay, I got you.
Yes.
Not like a hippie, obviously, but it's more nomadic.
But just more nomadic, very free.
You just go with the flow, of course. You could adapt and essentially, come into any group that you essentially come around to. Yeah. I mean, shit, like kind of like a chameleon. You just go and you pop out from there. Boom.
Yep.
There you go. I always wanted a chameleon on my shoulder as a pet. I'm not gonna lie.
They scare me a little bit. I don't want you licking on me, bro. Just don't. You're looking at me and then you just. I'm hitting with.
So if he licked me, I mean, I'm gonna flick it real quick. Like, hey, that's enough.
I don't need that.
But I would love it because nobody gonna see it. I like to move it in the shadows. Elusive, tangible.
I love that, man. Kind of being.
But as far as the demographic, it all varies on that. Honestly, like I was saying earlier, it all depends on what market you're targeting. If you're targeting the wrong market and you're getting a lot of pushback, that would not mean to quit it off the rip. You have to give it some time, give it some chances, tolerate it for the bit. Of course, if there is a goal that you have.
Yeah.
But there is a certain boiling point where it's like, okay, this part of the industry is not for me. Fuck y'all. I'm gonna go on to the next
Move
one.
on. Yep.
And like she was saying earlier, it's that you have to find your niche. In my opinion, your niche would be strictly urban and streetwear fashion because you could definitely pull that off from what I've
It's
seen.
so funny you say that.
But then also, I think that you could probably be good at styling, wardrobe styling, if you don't already do that.
I am a stylist.
Okay,
I do.
there
I
you
upcycle
go.
clothing.
So
and
I
make
already see
streetwear.
that, and of course, it's by a hunch, you can kind of tell, of course. You got the Harlem swag, like 1996 vibes. I was born 96, but I could tell that it's strictly 90s, Spike Lee's his name, the director. Yeah, kind of like that. I was seeing,
Yeah.
but still, you seem like you're in a good demographic. It fits for you, and it's all about trial and error. You're not going to get anything on the first time.
That's exactly what it is.
Nothing in this life will ever happen on the first try unless it's by luck or God's grace himself.
Yeah, and I think also just being the person I am, community is a very big part of that. Like I had mentioned earlier about me being the girl, and I got no shame in it. The hand-me-down girl, the second-hand, the Goodwill girl, yep. And even to this day,
well, you still
thrifted.
It's like, first
pride.
the thrifted is a art of its own.
Yeah.
Like Buffalo Exchange, I used to shop there all the time.
What?
Like Wasteland too. Come on now. I mean, I wouldn't go to Crossroads a little bit,
Yeah,
Crossroads. If you're trying to get like some used clothes for uniform at your private school, but
that for me is just like sitting in spaces and all of us just being able to humble ourselves and build and stop where you are for a second and see, oh, you're just like me. I started right where you was. Instead of me uplifting, because I get it. Now, you earned where you're at. Get it. Whatever you did. But also, I'm very big on that. Coming from nothing, as a lot of people have that background, coming from nothing. Why do you feel you're untouchable now? Why is it that you're this person representing, but you and I are almost the same? You represent something.
Would you say that those are like more successful, known people that you're talking about, or at least people that are very
successful and known, or
established?
even it touches kind of on what we was spoken about earlier: the following, it's the aesthetics, it's the
ego itself.
The ego
It's just
itself.
the
Some
ego.
people, and then there's other people who they're like, oh, that's just a look. You're the coolest person in the world.
Yeah, because character, at the end of the day, we were born in this world and we have to, show our character. That's why, there are laws in place and certain, moral standards, of course, that we wish people would, stick to, but we can't control them, nor can we even expect it nowadays.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, when you're talking about people that are like up in the industry, talking like how, you were just explaining as far as like, I'm some hot shit, I'm untouchable. It could be for a while, but end of the day, they're not going to be untouchable for long. They're going to have somebody, get them. Look at Diddy. Look at all these people that are depraved, debaucherous people. And,
Again, to the bottom of the
end of the day, they just fall down. Like they literally go from a whole mogul, God-tier mogul, back down to the gutter before they go to the bowels of hell. You feel me?
from.
So it's going to happen regardless because God is powerful while the devil is weak.
Hey, my name is Dominique Franks. Like I mentioned, I am a model, been pursuing modeling for 5 years now. But in addition to that, I do acting, I sing a little bit, and I want to start my own brand that I've been wanting to do for the past 3 years. So I have the logo and everything. I know what the mission is, but I'm just having a tough time on how to get started because marketing is not my marketing as far as setting up things. It's I'm not really good at that. So the brand I want to start it's called Chameleonix. It is a mythical creature that I made up. It's a chameleon and a phoenix combined into one creature.
So like a cryptid, yeah.
Yes. So the reason why I wanted to start this is because as human beings, wherever we are, we're all chameleons because we adapt to every environment life throws our way. So, for example, I'll give you an example with me. My environment tells this. I'm an athlete. I play basketball. Been playing.
What position?
I'm either the 3 or the 4, so a small forward or a power forward.
Oh, you're basically doing 3 out of 6 positions. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and I'm 5'8", so. But that was the position that I was taught when I was in high school. But then when I went to college, I'm like, you're not supposed to be a small forward. You're supposed to be a point guard based on your height.
Yeah, because high school is different, of course, when it comes to scaling.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then I've been playing adult leagues for the past 11 and a half years now.
You did D1 or D2?
Nah, I didn't play in college. I just went. So I played in high school for 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I started playing when I was 11 years old, and then I played in
But like
high
as far as
school.
a team, an
Yeah.
official team, it's high school.
Yeah, college, I just focused on graduating in 4 years and getting my degree and being on.
You were like, I love sports, but I don't love it that much.
Yeah, and then I fell in love with basketball game after I graduated from college, and then I've been playing in basketball leagues ever since.
Nice.
So for the past 11 and a half years. So that's one of my environments, basketball, of course, modeling, of course, dancing. Another environment I have is really taking care of my health. I'm type 1 diabetic. I've been diabetic for the past 24 years. I was diagnosed when I was 15 years old.
Wow, you still play ball all 4 years, huh? I give you, and I'm saying that, because I give you big props, for overcoming that, especially with, diabetes is typically, from weight sometimes, even genetic, but you overcame that and still, started shooting hoops.
Yeah. When it pertains to diabetes, it's yes and no. So there's two types of types of diabetes. There's the type 1, which I have, is considered type 1 diabetes, which is an autoimmune illness. That is when you get sick as your immune system is progressing, then it attacks and the virus attacks the beta cells, which are the cells that's producing.
It essentially attacks you when your system is vulnerable, when it's like an open shot. Basically.
Exactly. So I'm insulin dependent for the rest of your life. And then you have type 2 that could come with genetics. It can be poor dieting and.
But back to the brand you were talking about.
Right.
Actually.
Exactly. So those are my environments, and then and everybody has different environments that they have. And then, as life itself, life is unpredictable. Life knocks us down. And, especially with challenges we never thought we would face. So we have 3 options here. So 1, you can just stay down and give up. 2, if the universe presents it like, okay, this is what it is, that's fine. Or you can get up and rise up like a phoenix reincarnation, push that restart button and start over. So that's what my brand is about, and that's what the mission is. And the problem, and I have the logo and everything, the problem that I'm having is how to start it, like how to network with that.
So my input in that actually, because I could provide exactly what you need within the vicinity of this area. I can get you to manufacturing, designs and whatnot, if needed. And of course, brand shoots, models, photography. That's what I do. I run my agency, and I don't only book models. It's what I'm known for. That's what I started out with. But I book cars, houses, production, etc. And there's a lot of miscellaneous services that I have. So definitely get my contact after. I'm more than glad to see what I can help you out as far as any merch orders and get it popping for you.
That'd be great.
Yeah,
Thank you.
no problem. Guess who's back again? Brittany's back. Tell a friend.
Hi, my name is Brittany Nicole. I'm also an Army veteran. I was a model for about over 20-something years, took a break, came back, recently moved to LA. Now getting into music, so I guess I can officially say I'm a music artist.
You're an entertainer.
There you go. That's probably the best.
And that could be for any multi-dimensional individual, like, a lot of the sweet ladies that I met here. So just an entertainer.
Yeah. So it's funny you say that, because Alanis had touched on this earlier, and I actually think I have an unpopular opinion here, but I miss the mystery of the celebrity. I think
the only celebrity that probably has a mystery nowadays, in my opinion, and I could be biased, is The Weeknd. You barely hear the guy speak. You barely know what he sounds like outside the mic.
That's funny. But yeah, I kind of miss the days when we didn't really know much about them outside of, like paparazzi following them, and
it was scripted for most of it, but yeah.
Yeah. But for the most part, it was like, unless it came from their PR person, we didn't really know too much. I think social media, it started off as a great way of like connecting with fans, but then it turned into kind of an oversharing, and now fans feel like they're owed to know absolutely everything. Like, I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm not writing no explanation about a breakup. Like, I'll be damned. So
yeah, like, honestly, I don't give a shit if, like, whoever was dating what was the oldest sister's name from the Kardashians? I forgot the names. I don't care enough.
Courtney.
Courtney. So Courtney was dating what's his face? The guy that was on SNL, and then they broke up.
Oh, that was Kim. That was Pete.
Oh yeah, that was Pete. Yeah. So like, I don't. Yes, that's what I'm saying. I don't care enough. It's like, who the fuck cares if a celebrity breaks up with their 10th guy or their 10th girl after like the last 5 years? And a lot of these relationships are fabricated. They're pushed, by the agency that they work with just for a PR stunt. It's all a PR, not all of it, but it's a lot of it.
I mean,
And they caused some of it here and there, yeah. But like Big Sean and Janae Eichel, yeah, that's legitimate. We all know they love each other, But there's a lot of relationships that like we don't need to know about this stuff.
I mean, just outside of just relationships, just in general. Like, I don't need to know like what you're eating for dinner. I think also social media kind of killed some of it as well, because you can be a really big fan of the art and getting to know them on social media, you're just kind of like, ooh, like I kind of wish I didn't know you.
Everything about them without actually knowing them as a person. It's a very weird dynamic. It kind of like contradicts itself, back and forth.
Yeah, so I'm like, I understood, like, in the beginning that it was kind of a way where they can like reach their fans, and it's like, okay, if you can hear it from me directly, you don't have to go to like X or hear it from a rumor like TMZ. But I think that now it's kind of crossed the line where, like now fans feel like they're owed certain things, and kind of like what you guys were discussing earlier, like now you have to like keep up with reels, and I got to do all this content to show you like this is who I am, and this is why you should follow me, and this is why you should follow my art. And it's just, I feel like it's just gotten really
like you're basically
flooded.
begging, for your fans, and like
I kind of want to go back to the days where I think Beyonce does a really good job of here's my art, here's what I put out.
Yeah, but she's been vetted for like the last 20 years. Like we're talking about artists that are brand new per se, because I don't follow these people on social media. I have my own intake on who I follow and who I don't. But I know at least that Beyonce, she's been doing this shit for 20 years, but. I'm talking about. I think you're more. You're talking about more about the newer artists that are emerging that you're hearing about. It's like I said, you already know exactly who they are as a person without actually knowing them.
Just think we need to bring back publicists. I think it also might be my age too.
We need to bring back the distance away, from the fans, to the artists, and also away from the media as well. They're still people. They're still human beings. They deserve a life. They deserve privacy.
Yes.
And unfortunately, I would say the media is the biggest predator towards people such as that. Even though a lot of them could be working in cahoots with themselves. Like I said, Kim K's people say bad publicity is still good publicity. There's a lot of people working in cahoots. But there's a solid handful that's like they're just trying to live their lives. They succeeded, but don't make them regret their success.
Yeah.
You never want to make somebody regret their success. You want to enforce, their success, saying you did a great job. I'm proud of you. Keep it up. I'm a big fan. I'm a supporter, and I love hearing your stuff. That's it. Why can't it be that simple?
Which is kind of like what Bieber has been like struggling with, where people are crossing the line.
Well, yeah. I mean, and he was a child when that happened. As far as the whole Diddy thing, I feel bad because he was a child. He didn't have any decision in that. But now it's like it's no excuse, but still it lingers. Yeah, but still it's. Artists and celebrities, they're on the public stage, and they chose that life for a reason. They cannot regret that because they made that choice, and they got.
Well, people also aren't going up to baristas outside of their jobs and saying, "Can you make me an iced coffee?" Like when they're clocked out. So I think if people kind of looked at artists that way, because that is their 9 to 5, that is their job.
Keep things in the workspace. Simple. Anything outside of it, it's irrelevant. Don't even bring that shit here. Keep it where you're at. Good shite.
Dude, Jordan Marquise, artist, past life artist, creative now, CEO and founder of Brilliant Species. Nice to see you again, Bench. So the first time that I was up here, I don't think you understood the question. You did answer it to an extent. I have, you know me. I've been in the music industry since I was about 15 years old.
Before I even met you.
Exactly. So from being in the music industry from that age and being around Jamie Foxx, et cetera, when I was speaking on sexuality, I was speaking as from the point of, do you think that if I was homosexual, I'm not. I'm a straight man.
You're married.
Exactly. I'm married. Yeah. But that doesn't mean anything anymore. I could have a family and have kids and still be gay, homosexual, however you want to say that nowadays.
Basically being closeted, essentially.
There you go. So my question is, do you think that should have anything to do with it?
No, because one, that's their personal lives, okay?
Right.
And it's unfortunate because because the media and the industry like to propagate, people such as that, making it their entire identity. No, it's like if they're gay, okay, do as you need. I mean,
Facts.
there are people that are going to disagree with you, people that are going to be in the same circle as you and support you, but it should not be it shouldn't be propagated on the media. It shouldn't be your only identity, right? Because let's say, for example, even back then, 10 years ago, right? Around the time that I probably met you, or right before then,
Right.
Frank Ocean came out, as bisexual. I remember that. And the industry hated that.
Yeah.
To
an extent.
To an extent, yeah. And he's still very active. I love listening to his music. He has a beautiful voice. Very good at what he does. But if you came out, let's say in this day and age,
Would have been a different story.
would have been a way different story. They would have
Much
pushed them on a
different.
pedestal
Facts.
to, push an agenda, which, there's a lot of insight about that from both sides. But nonetheless, they would have used them as a prop, for the gay community. And if you want to represent them, good. But
It shouldn't matter.
It should not matter, and it should not be your entire identity to the public stage.
Got you.
I think it's foolish, and there should be more complexities, for celebrities. They shouldn't just be a one trick pony, like a gimmick. But nonetheless, we should know about them at least as a person rather than a gimmick.
Right.
It's like we see them more as a product, and we know, like we're talking about with Brittany, we know everything about them without actually knowing the person in the first place.
Because they need to take a step back.
Yeah, you take a step back, just be a person, just live your life. But the labels, the media, they won't allow them to do that. Right. Because they don't see them as people, not even employees, they see them as products. They're objects of their own success, especially the shadowy guys that are executives and
Predators.
Exactly. People that essentially are in all suits, briefcases or whatnot, act like they're hot shit because they've been destroying things, for years and think it's doing good for their own benefit. And that's why I never really liked any executives, from any labels or agencies or whatever. They're so insufferable, and they're always pushing and propagating this stuff. Show the people that he's a part of the people.
Right.
Be a person, be a human being, not a product, not an object for people to love, and basically worship at this point. I think that celebrity worship is a big problem. That's anti-God in my opinion.
So would you say that your company, Book by Binge, would be setting itself apart from these companies?
Yes, definitely, because my company is a hub. It's a multidimensional hub. You're not going to find anywhere else in Los Angeles. Yeah, people do it freelance here and there, but they're not legitimized. They're not structured. They're not a legitimate business that operates as such. So my agency provides everything that an artist and or creative would need for their creative endeavors. It's not free. I don't really do collaborations, but we all know that. But nonetheless, it's a part about investing into your work, which a lot of...
So would you say that you should collaborate more?
No.
But why not?
Because collaborations are far beneath me for many years. I haven't done a collaboration since year one. Yeah.
So personally, I've done modeling for a while, but I haven't done the lingerie form of modeling, like editorial, more styles, videos, shoots, of course, pictures.
So you're still progressing in your career.
So I'm kind of just trying to know what's the energy, what's the vibe, and what is it like on that side of the industry?
Well, it depends on what again?
Lingerie.
Lingerie. So I haven't really booked a lot of lingerie. I've done it before. I can't say much as far as like me not being there on set, because I typically am, behind the scenes, in person while they're shooting, because especially with newer clients that, I have to gain their trust. I'm working with women, and obviously a lot of artists in particular, they could, see them in a certain way. I'm sure you could agree. And you know what I'm saying. So I always come on set, but the time that I did book, for a lingerie brand, which was some time ago, it was like an upcoming one. It wasn't bad. I mean, it was female owned, so it could be a bit different. A lot easier for the girls to go on a lingerie shoot knowing that the owner is another woman. They feel a lot more safe in that sense. But in general, let's say an artist wants a girl in lingerie, that's fine. And lingerie with me, I make that an optional thing. Girls got to be in bikinis, as far as attire for summer shoots, but lingerie is always optional because some women don't want to do that. Some of them got, good relationships and don't want to do that, on camera per se. Bikini's fine, but, they have their own preferences. But with lingerie, I would say if you're still new, if you don't have somebody representing you or casting you, or at least have some type of reassurance as another person being there, still go, but just maintain vigilance, because you never know when if, let's say, a guy's shooting and all that, and he's starting to see and feel some type of way with you in those clothing. You don't want to entice him like that, because you never know, especially if it's a new person that you're working with. It could be very skeptical sometimes. And that's why I'm always on set, because I have to be the one that initiate the safety of the women that I work with. That's my job. And if I don't, then I'm going to be liable, and it's going to be a lot of problems, not only for me, but for everybody.
And would you personally book a model that has to have that in their, like?
Well, yes. I mean, there are girls on my roster that consent to lingerie. They do it a lot actually for their own stuff. So if the girl says, yeah, I'm down to do a lingerie shoot, I'm like, okay, cool, let's book you. If a girl says, I'm not really down for lingerie, it's not my vibe, bikini's one thing, lingerie's another, I say, it's no problem. That's your choice. See, my castings are not, not a requirement. If you can't make it or it's not up your alley, you could just say no.
Right,
There's nothing wrong. Yeah, just nothing wrong with that, because I have many other girls on my roster. So, of course, I have options in which I could book, and that's business. That's not, a weird thing like other guys say, I got options. No, like I'm a businessman. I have to have multiple options for people to choose from.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So when it comes to you and like booking talent, what do you kind of look for? Confidence? Is it more of the
Not really,
person?
not exactly confidence. Like I was telling Brittany earlier, it's the qualification. They have to check, at least 90% of the boxes. The only thing I would say would not really fully apply, which me and Brittany spoke about, would be the following. I recently got a girl on the roster that has less than 2K followers, but she looks good as far as her work, and she seems experienced and was sent by a trusted source of mine.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna see how she does. But I would say it's more the character, of course, the look. I mean, if you're a model, you have to look good, because modeling is a look good type of thing. You have to look presentable. You have to look, attractive, of course, to your public. But I would say, of course, the ethics, the reliability, the competence, and the biggest thing about me, not only with models, but with anything and everything in my business, even outside of that, is communication. A lot of people are beefing with another because they break a bridge by just not communicating, by not updating them, by keeping them in the dark. Like they have a right to keep them in the dark. No. If you're working on a team effort, nobody should be in the dark, because if somebody's in the dark and wants to wants to shoot, somebody's got to get hurt. You get what I'm saying? So this problem's going to arise.
Exactly.
So it's communication is the biggest thing to me. Number one.
I was gonna say something.
Appreciate it.
Y'all forgot, which I know you didn't. I'm Alanis. I'm an actor, model,
Where's the
musician.
trident? Where's the trident?
Boom.
Boom! Power of Poseidon.
Okay, power to puss.
That pussy got power.
Y'all heard him. I didn't say it.
You did.
No, but okay, so what I want to talk about right now, I was thinking, I don't mean to be poetic, but I want to talk about
Be poetic.
subconscious Eurocentricity. Okay? That's what I want to talk about. Subconscious Eurocentricity.
Enlighten
Wait, let me
me.
say it right. Subconscious Eurocentricity. I want to make sure y'all can type it in. Look at that. Okay?
Subconscious Eurocentricity.
Yes, thank you. Because let me just start by saying, I be using my hair as a social experiment. I be changing it up. I'm a Gemini. Every time you see me, it's probably finna be a different hairstyle. The way I'm treated differently by the hairstyle is so crazy to me. I'm telling you, the way I am treated differently by the hairstyle is crazy. Let me tell you. For example, and this is just a little whoopty. I got plenty of stories. But last month, I pulled up to this spot, right? And I had my natural hair out. I was looking bad, I always do. The fuck? I looked really good. And I made a lot of great connections, and then I went home. I went back to the same spot.
You just call me Brian.
What's your name?
Benji.
Benji.
You called me
Yo.
that. You said my name early when you came on the first panel.
Yo, it was a B. I'm sorry, honey. Benji.
It's all gravy.
Benji. When I tell you I went back to the same spot with blonde hair, I left with $1,000. I swear to God. Don't ask how I did it. Just know I left with the money.
I know what you mean. It's because it's a norm that's been around for many years, in the industry.
Thank you.
People love blondes. I mean, look, blondes just want to have fun type shit,
Yeah.
Everybody knows. I mean, look, I personally love blondes. I know I have many blondes on my roster. But I would say, that's more of a societal construct, and a norm that has been pushed, for a while. Yes, there are many beautiful blondes, but there are a lot of gross, disgusting blondes too. And they paying you for $1,000 just for being blonde. Yeah, that's kind of weird, but don't take it as an offense.
Yeah.
Take it in the sense like, okay, I made $1,000. Fuck yeah. So I made $1,000 in a night.
That was just like a metaphoric example. That wasn't even like.
But let me finish though, right?
Yeah.
So if you were blonde and liked you there, but you were a different person with a different hair to them, in a different instance, all you would have to do is say, okay, maybe the blonde is working for me. Let me try it out for a bit longer. Maybe be a bit more consistent. It can,
Right.
Consistency is key. And I really like to switch it up a bit. You like to be creative and try new things. But there's nothing wrong about, maintaining a certain status quo of who you are and what you look.
Yes.
For, a longer period of time. I think last time you didn't have the braids, when I saw you.
Mm-hmm.
You definitely had something different because I didn't notice you at first, actually.
Mm-hmm.
But nonetheless, it could be a lesson. It could be a lesson you could easily monetize and capitalize off. And
Absolutely.
talk about business, don't take it personal because, don't take it personal. You know what I mean? Never take it personal because if you took it personal, you wouldn't think you had that $1,000 nor lesson.
Absolutely. Don't hate the player, baby. Hate the game.
Exactly. So
Okay.
So play the game, and you got the cheat code with the lesson that be.
Yes, I'm really not worried about it. I mean, of
Yeah.
course, as a woman, who is with a lot of self-love, of course, as a woman with a lot of self-love, I just want to come into a room and be authentically myself. And what I wanted
But
to
you
talk
feel like
about,
you
the reason
can't.
why I titled it Subconscious Eurocentricity is that sometimes I have to acknowledge that as a woman in this industry, I can't always walk into the room as a black woman being 100% myself.
And trust
And
me.
that's just how it is.
No,
Don't hate the
trust
player,
me,
hate
I
the
know-
game, but I feel it.
And I know from
you
my
know?
own experience because I'm a loudmouth. I'm very
Yeah.
unfiltered, and there's a certain stigma that a lot of people in the industry want people to conform to, right? And I'm an anti-conformist. I hate conformity.
Period.
I want people to do as they need, but also stay within the bounds of like moral a moral compass. Still be good, but do as you need, right? But aside from that, yeah, I walked into spaces where people expected me to just stay quiet, be chill, and this and that. But it's like I want to talk to people. I want to network. I'm a manager. That management is in my forte. I mean, I'm a self-networker. I'm here to network. Yeah, you pay me, to do a service, but I'm also here to meet people. I'm here
Right.
to network. We all are here to network. And if the manager, which mind you, actually, when I was booking for Roddy Ricch and Lil Durk, right? The executive producer, of the shoot, I booked 3 cars, last minute, got it done, whatever. This woman said, off the rip before we started shooting, nobody take BTS, this and that. And she saw me as a threat, in the first place because I was networking before they were shooting. I wasn't doing while they're shooting. I respected that. But she saw me as a massive threat because I was talking to people, because I was getting to know people like a human being.
Mm-hmm.
And then she hated me from that. And what's crazy is that when she said no taking BTS and all that during the shoot, I didn't take BTS.
Right.
I was on my phone, but I was just working on my
Not
to-do list
recording,
for
yeah.
the next day. I wasn't taking BTS, but everybody else, right behind her back, literally, there was somebody right behind her by a few feet taking BTS on her own team. And then people were taking it under her nose all the time. And I was like, this worthless old hag is actually trying to Hawkeye me, thinking that I'm the bad guy because she sees me as a threat to networking with people, trying to make money for myself and
No, but
benefit from my career.
You're a leader, you're a star, and a lot of people aren't going to like that.
Of course,
And I
and
feel
she
like
hated
that's
me
something
for
that
it.
we can relate on.
And then, by the way, that woman, I told her that you're not paying the shit the label is, and she got butthurt from there. Done deal. Saying, well, we paying you a lot of money for this. Nah, the label is, you dressing like a snack all the time, I bet, huh?
What?
You're a strawberry shortcake. What you mean?
Okay.
Yeah, strawberry shortcake.
I
Yeah,
can
well, I'm saying a snack.
Yeah, it's the autism. I don't be knowing what's happening.
I understand, of course. Yeah, I totally understood. I know. Do as you need, though. Tell me.
Yeah, just I feel like with creating a safe space for those on the spectrum, it's also just like making sure how to correctly help them navigate in certain spaces. I know for myself, yes, I tend to end up being individual and figuring my stuff out. But at the same time, that puts me in compromisable situations that I'm not exactly suited for.
With the anxiety that comes with that, yes.
Yeah. And people will see that someone is on the spectrum and like assume that because they don't understand something, they take advantage of what they're doing.
And they forget that there's a lot of people on the spectrum that are extremely high functional to where
Yes.
it's barely even visible. Not even visible, if anything.
Right.
Yeah.
So I know for myself, it's mostly just trying to navigate and find someone who can understand that's where I'm coming from. But just because I am on the spectrum, it doesn't stop me from being accepted in those spaces. Because even with people on the spectrum, there's also a weird division in there as well, where people assume that because white autistic people act a certain way, black, mixed, whatever background you have, being considered different for doing the exact same things as a white autistic person would do. Like, for instance, I know there was a recent situation, even for myself, where I felt the need to speak up for my community despite having autism and despite having that fear. I felt like, as someone who is a light-skinned individual, I should be speaking up for my community. So I had to really figure out how to word. I had to figure out how to navigate. But something that I was so passionate about was called aggressive. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if I'm on the spectrum. At the end of the day, to these people, I'm black. At the end of the day.
Of course. And
they forget it. They're like, you got that tism? Nah, you black. I'm going to treat you how I want to treat you.
So basically the colorism aspect you're talking about, right?
Very much so.
Yeah, which, and I could relate because, from my community, it was a community of excessive conformity. And I was the outlier. I had Tourette's and ADHD, and, a place in which, ignorance was kind of like, the norm per se, maintaining a status quo that's obsolete, after a long time. I guess I could understand that, especially, people want you to conform to a certain position in life, but it's not worth it a lot of the times. And the same people that conform, that, were okay with it, they're not doing good in life. Maybe it's career-wise, but in here, they're on the brink. They're on the brink of just losing it. But you're not aggressive. You took passion in what you believe in and what you care for. Anybody that does say, oh, she's aggressive, she seems masculine and so forth, are those people going to be benefiting you? Absolutely not.
Oh, no.
Do you give a shit about those people? No. Did they give a shit about you? Clearly not. But they care about you when it's in their benefit to say you're aggressive and basically counteract, your own care and passion for your community.
I think it's a reminder to create those space.
Yeah,
those safe spaces. When people act that way, I'm like, oh, we still haven't figured out how to make it a safe space for these type of people, and we shouldn't have to make it almost like a big issue just to make it a safe space.
And I understand where you're getting at, but when it comes to the industry, a lot of things can't be like solely focused on the minority, because then it takes away from other matters in the industry they need to be focused on, which is a lot of things. But as far as the safe space aspect, like I was telling you earlier, you should definitely stay as an independent artist and creative, because you own everything. You'll have everything to yourself, have a small team that's, settled and very, very in the know. And, tell with the labels and agencies, because they're going to want you to be a certain way. And whenever you guys set a point in your career, they're going to want you to be a certain way that you're going to push back on. And that could be career suicide. So just stay independent. If you don't want to conform, which I never suggest to anybody, stay independent. Because you could do what you want, and as a free person, and as you should, you're a free human being. You out here, you live in it, you look great. So to fuck the labels, you know what I mean? Fuck the labels, fuck the agencies. Stay independent. You're gonna win. No problem.
Oh my God.
What you won't do,
What's up?
do for love.
Sauce to God.
You tried everything. Go ahead.
Don't get me on there on that. So sauce to
Don't
God.
cry.
I'm a creative. I'm an artist. I do a little clothes, do a little modeling, do a little talking, yapping. But I was just sitting here thinking, damn, Benji, I really like you. And then there was a couple things, and I still really like you. But now I'm like, oh yeah. So let's talk real quick.
You can't check all boxes. Go ahead, tell me.
Yeah, of course. I want to talk on a subject that was brought up earlier, about basically the pressure. And I could cuss, right?
I already cussed him like
10 cool. I'm just making sure. Touch on the subject of the pressure that people of two things. The pressure that people of color have to face. That is a very big, big, big thing. A lot of people will sit here, even now me mentioning it. Oh, this bitch want to make that her whole personality. Unfortunately, it is. It is who I am. Every day I wake up and I'm this black woman to society, whether I want to be or not. But it's the fact that we've touched on when we start to put ourselves in a box. Why is it that I have my natural hair? I'm coming as a natural hair queen, warrior.
Yeah, which
Afro.
is not very common in the black community.
It's not.
Yeah.
But it's because it's not accepted. Because when a white woman comes into a space, it's already been put up here on a pedestal. Oh no, but her hair is cute. Oh, it's cute when she got a little messy bun. It's cute when she's got the little smudgy makeup. It's cute when she look crazy.
Yeah, Kesha's not cute.
It's cute, but then
Kesha ain't cute.
But then there's opportunities, and that's something that has stopped me being authentically myself no matter what space I go into. And I've had people say, Sauce, you gotta hustle down if you want opportunities. No, I need the world to see who I am, because there are other people out there like me. I'm not here for you to see me. I'm here for me to see me, and me being my people. Coming into space, I see oh, I'm not alone. Yeah, I look this way, I present one way, but so many people touch other subjects. So as women, not just women, but people of color in the industry, there is that pressure. And I heard you say something where it's like, oh, don't take it as that. Just take it as, yeah, I got the check. No, how many times we got to just take it, just take it, just take it, just take it. It's fine. Your hair was accepted because it was straight. It was fine.
I totally understood. So when you're talking about like, take it and take it as far as the conforming aspects, and I'm going to try to take this into perspective about life in general.
Yeah.
So you got to roll with the punches. If you want to get to a certain goal, there are going to be some very humiliating and demeaning things to become successful. But it is worth it in the very long run, because once you succeed, you won't have to, you won't have to get on your knees to, to humiliate yourself like that. You
completely apply for people of color, though. Once we get into these spaces, we still become a puppet and an outlet for these people, because when Black is authentic,
but is that by choice, or are they being forced with
No, it's never by choice. Now, nothing for us to be in a box is ever by choice until it is. Okay. And that's when we've been.
Okay, so what you're saying is that if an artist gets signed to a label, right? Because there are a lot of artists, actually. My attorney, actually, she worked with Atlantic for many years. She's said that there are many, many artists that are willingly taking 360 deals. And 360 deals are just the modern day slave ship for the labels.
Right.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
They willingly take that. That is by choice. Nobody's putting a gun to their head saying, sign this deal or I'm going to kill you. No. It's all by choice, because in this world, God has given us free will. And we all know that. Everybody has the ability to make a decision, and every decision has a benefit or a consequence, or both.
So I'll say that to say this. It's like parents when they tell a child, oh, I didn't tell you to do that. Okay, but you didn't tell me not to do that. So people are sitting here, I didn't put a gun to your head. No, but as a person that is part of this group, that's all that is idolized. You have to do that. Sign your soul away. Fuck it, you don't amount to shit else anyways. Be a good nigga in the industry.
And that's why, and all those bad things are actually creeping back up to Hollywood and basically we had exposure. We basically use social media against the people that are in Hollywood like that.
That took
it's a lot easier to expose people
of the exclusivity and the inclusivity. It's beneficial for us to be like that.
Yes, it does have an importance to an extent, but I think that it's been oversaturated.
Yes.
To the point where essentially it's just a prop. They're just propping people up to be this and that. Inclusive, being
trendy. Let's throw you up there. Let's throw you up.
Exactly. They're trying to push a whole look on people that they're rejecting constantly. And when it comes to inclusivity, when it becomes far too much of the norm, there's no room for legitimate talent, because it's all just, oh, you're Black, oh, I'm gonna put you on the stage and you do this for me, right? No. If the person is talented, do that. But if they're just Black, if they're just white or Asian and so forth, and they can't do much, they're fucking waste. You just wasted your time and all that. Put people that are credible, that are talented, that are creative, and they have the qualifications and the idealism to be on stage per se. But if just some random ass guy, from a certain community, but he just ain't shit and they just having everything taken care of for him, like literally just a puppet, like you're saying, like a lot of rappers nowadays, nobody's gonna like it. He's gonna have a very short career. What's up, everybody? This conversation with all these great people over here, it was real great. A lot of things I didn't agree with, but a lot of things actually I did agree with in the first place. When it came to the inclusivity aspect, I can't fully agree with that, and that could be a conversation for later. But yet there are still valid points, on that topic, from all sides that I heard. But today was great. I had a great conversation with a massive amount of creatives and of different backgrounds, different types, different innovation. And I think that next time, I'm hoping that it's more of a challenge, because it was great, but it was easy to me for some reason. Y'all need to give me a challenge now. Come on now. I'm a hard head. Don't make it easy for me. I appreciate everybody for watching. Enjoy yourself. Watch Pulse Media. We got a lot of great stuff on the way. And enjoy your weekend. Bye-bye.